Well, we are back and we're live at CES with Women in Drones, and we are so excited to talk about drones and entertainment and sports. This is the fun stuff. And these are two amazing women doing some incredible things. We have Dr. Renee Welch and also Lexie Janson. And I want to talk a little bit about, your backgrounds. Let's start with you, Renee. How did you get into this space? This is something that's, everybody's always curious about. How did you start?
Well, I'm the chief grantologist and CEO for my company, Grantology. So my background is a mix of workforce development and education, as well as funding for a movement. Now, I mix that with amazing drone professional development, sprinkled in mentors, self-study, and lots of learning experiences and conferences like this one, in addition to my Part 107 and trust certificates.
Wow. So you actually help entrepreneurs and organizations with the grant process in the drone in the drone space.
To find diversified funding for projects and services that saves lives, time, and money, and education. I'm here today as the chair for the United States Drone Soccer National Engagement Strategy.
Wonderful.
I'm passionate about STREAM programs,
right.
Science, technology, reading, engineering, aviation, and math.
Okay, I know a little bit about those folks a little bit. So, Lexie, tell us about your background and what you're doing.
Okay, so the best thing that I can say is I'm piloting flying cars.
I love that.
Yeah, this is something that it just sounds weird. My mom always says that whenever she tells anyone that, oh yeah, my daughter is flying cars, everyone's like,
But what does that? They're like, what does that mean? What?
And she's like, no, look, I have pictures.
Right. You're like Judy Jetson in a way.
Yeah, kinda. I'm working at the company called Jetson, so it's even better.
That's perfect.
So so I started as a drone racing pilot. I was traveling all over the world racing drones. They are like that small, and they can go like 200 kilometers per hour. I'm not sure how much it is in miles.
Right.
But I started doing this, and then opportunity arose, and someone said, "Hey, would you like to, make a living out of flying big drones?" And I was like, "Well, I'm doing this already. What's your point?" But they said, "Okay, but we're gonna put you in."
You're like, wait a minute.
And I was like, ooh, okay, I'm listening now.
Right. Were you a pilot before that?
I was actually in the middle of doing my PPL when COVID hit.
Okay.
So then it stopped. But I'm about to start all over again, so that's gonna be really exciting. I've been in helicopters, Cessnas, a jet fighter, so that was really great. And that's my background. Everything that flies and that can provide entertainment. This is me.
Where are you based?
Currently in Italy. Jetson is based in Italy. So I moved for Jetson so we can do all of the testing of their Jetson 1, which is going to be like a personal eVTOL. So it's exciting.
You really are Judy Jetson.
Amazing.
No.
I
I love
should
this.
change my name now.
I think you should.
Yeah.
I'll support you in that. Renee, let's talk about U.S. National Drone Soccer. I've had a chance to speak to the president, Kyle, there. But this is certainly a rising sport for teens. And how do you see this becoming a larger part of tech education development?
Well, the testing started in Colorado with high schools. It provided a beautiful framework for career and technical education. The kids are building the drones.
That's great.
They're binding the drones and programming. They're repairing the drones and flying the drones. And it's just amazing gameplay. And as a matter of fact, what is this thing, right? Bang, had to do it. And it's amazing because it's a co-ed sport.
That's awesome.
Doesn't matter your abilities or your athletic abilities. So it's a co-ed sport. And as a matter of fact, the FAA Advanced Advisory recommends this in terms of gender biases and equity.
Wow.
So we want girls. This is something that they can do. And the kids are starting at the age of 12. So for all those who came before us who don't have a program or who say it's got to start young, here we are.
That is so amazing. I mean, to be able to touch all parts of this, design, build, fly. I mean, this is what we need. That's truly a STEM education.
Yes.
And how big is this right now?
It's an amazing gateway
Yeah.
to all of the careers and the whole pipeline with aviation and aerospace.
Right.
So right now we've got 75 active teams across the states, with a wave of partners coming on just now in January of 2023. We want to grow by another 100 schools, 300 teachers, because this also provides professional development for teachers and coaches.
Right.
And 2,000 kids. And beyond, with the help of your listening audience and those that are here at CES.
That is fantastic. Yeah, this is this is a way to bring the future, into schools right now.
Yes, future forward.
So like this is a new way to have sports, but also education at the same time.
Yes.
Lexie, speaking of industry growth, we're seeing kids be very interested in this new technology. But when it comes to the electric car racing industry, how has this grown for some people this is the first time they're hearing of this over the short term, and then what do you think is going to happen over the next 5 years with this industry?
Yeah, so I think it's currently getting talked about more and more, especially when I think there was like a thread on the internet when someone said, "Oh, the George Jetson should be just born this year, like last year."
Right.
So where are our flying cars?
Right.
And there's a lot of industries and a lot of companies that come in with, "Well, I made one. Here you go." So I think in like 5 to 10 years, depending on, of course, the regulations, this may go really, really far. And what is important for me personally is that we show right away that it's not just boys sport or just toys for boys, it's toys for everyone. And just showing that there are women involved is making the huge difference, especially for the younger audiences.
Right.
I remember as a child, I asked my dad why there are no girls in Formula One. And my dad looked at me and was like, "Well, you're gonna just be one."
You're like,
So-
okay, Dad.
Be the
So
force.
yeah, so be the force. And
Right.
my dad actually reminded me this a couple of weeks ago,
Wow.
and he said, "Well, you kind of made it."
You did.
Yeah, you absolutely did.
So he
did.
said,
Formula
"You
One
kinda
in the
made it."
sky.
Yes.
Yeah, he actually said that you kind of there, not on the car, but that's fine. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Now, does your vehicle have like sponsor logos on it yet? Is that what's happening?
For Jetson, no, because
Okay.
this is going to be just a product for everyone.
Okay.
For ASP, the past company that I was working with, there was a lot of sponsors involved in the whole process. So we're going to see how it goes.
Okay.
Currently we're in a recession, so it's a little bit harder with the funds everywhere.
Right.
So we're gonna see how it goes.
Right.
I think it's gonna be so much more exciting because Formula One gets so many people watching it. And if you can add this third dimension to
Yeah.
it, not that you can just take over on the right or on the left. And
Right.
say, yeah, that's boring. You know what's interesting? When you fly and you see everything in FPV, and all of a sudden there's someone from below you.
Right.
That's the scary part.
Right, right.
Oh my god.
Right. Right.
So that's going to be so much more exciting,
Absolutely.
especially if they put cameras on the pilots' faces whenever
Right.
they see someone and like, oh my gosh, what's
That
going
is
on? So,
amazing.
yeah, it's going to be
Love
super
it.
exciting.
Right.
I mean, racing started when there was a second car. So
Right.
the moment we have two Jetsons next to each other, I can bet you they're going to start racing them.
Absolutely. And this could easily become a competitive sport, and we can see it on television, and maybe even the
Absolutely,
Olympics one day.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. Why
yeah.
not? I mean, drone racing is already there. It's
Yeah.
just a little bit bigger.
Wow. Well, Renee, in the same vein, how do you see drones as a sport growing, though? I mean, we've talked about getting this in schools. Do you see this now becoming, an intramural sport, playing other schools, and becoming its own,
Yes.
entity, living, breathing thing?
Totally. It's an amazing e-sport. Students are already in competition. I want to make sure I get some of these right.
Okay.
For instance, in January, we've got the spring season kickoff. In March, we have regional championships. April, the national championship. July, the Rocky Mountain State Games. And they'll be preparing for the U.S. team tryouts and training because in October, going to Korea with the Drone Soccer International Open Cup. So this
truly
is something that
global.
kids are competing in,
Wow.
on school teams,
Right.
youth development programs.
Wow.
That's just it, full-blown competition.
This is like the first stages of Quidditch. if you're a Harry Potter fan.
Beyond.
Beyond.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
Oh, wow. This is truly exciting. I mean, when I think about what, if I stepped into, if any of us stepped into the future, 50 or 100 years from now, what we would see if we peeked in, it's gonna be amazing.
Right.
With that, Lexie, when you think about equipment evolution, to make this even more interesting, what do you think is going to happen? Bigger, faster?
Totally faster,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Right. Long
currently-
ranges?
Yeah, currently, mostly everyone is focusing on safety,
Yeah.
just to prove the concept. Because once you get yourself in trouble, you're in trouble and everyone's in trouble. We had it with drones and peeking at the neighbors' windows situations.
Right.
So I think they will first show that it's safe and it works, and then we're gonna go for bigger, faster, maybe 2-seaters, because most of them are like 1-seater. I think if we want to go to flying cars from the Jetsons, we will need 2, 3, maybe 4. 4 is like not sure, but yeah, like we're gonna get a little bit bigger, and this can be exactly like with the cars. We had normal cars for normal people, and then we had racing cars and luxury cars and things like this. So I think it may just kind of pivot in this way.
Right.
That would be really exciting. And racing is also helping the normal car industry, so I think racing of eVTOLs may help the eVTOL industry as well for all the testing and just pushing the boundaries.
What altitude are you flying at usually?
Not really high.
Not
really
really
high.
high.
No,
Okay.
10, 20 meters.
Okay.
Yeah, the parachute I think is working at 20 meters.
Okay. And are you picked up by radar? Is there a transponder on board? Or?
There should be transponder probably for the future.
Okay.
Currently it's an experimental aircraft, so there is no radar.
Okay. Wow. This is amazing.
Maybe she'll let us ride with her.
I would
yeah.
love
Yes.
to.
If they make like 2 people one, you guys are
Look,
going to ride.
You let me
Alright.
know. We'll bring the
Yeah.
crew over and we'll go.
I'm just gonna go also for the drone,
That's it.
the soccer.
I love
We're
it.
totally doing this.
Yes.
Wow. And so speaking about I'm always thinking about the business model of this thing. We talked about international opportunities. Do you think that this is, there'll be broadcast deals here? Yeah.
Why not?
Well,
Maybe.
yes, as the chair of the
Absolutely.
engagement
Absolutely.
strategy,
You're like, absolutely.
we are looking for the
Right.
support. And
Yeah.
I figure if drones are recording sports right now,
Right.
why not have one record this amazing e-sport and STEM program?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I could
absolutely.
definitely see the ESPNs of the world picking up on this, and even
Yes.
the digital social media companies.
There's a
But
lot
it-
of potential, especially in the kids. You can show their road throughout the whole thing. Because in sports, mostly we don't watch sports because I like that team USA. It's I like this person in particular. So the
Yeah.
more people you have involved, the more people you can actually showcase as real people that have their journey, that they are starting from drone soccer, finishing with World Cup in drone racing, or getting into an eVTOL or something like this. This is a
Yes.
whole road that can give people a lot of opportunity as well.
We've got to provide them with exposure.
Right.
And they can't engage if they can't see it.
Right.
Exactly.
So I think it is definitely necessary as well, especially for the younger audience, for
Right.
parents, for the community,
Right.
for potential partners
Right.
and sponsors.
Creates just a whole new way to engage with children. I was talking to someone earlier about all the things that have been pulled out of school, that music and
Yes.
stuff, and I'm like, music, gym, cooking classes, home ec, all that stuff was a big part. I mean, I still know how to make chicken Kiev
All
as a
right.
result of the horrible chicken Kiev I made when I was in the 8th grade. But it was those kind of things where I wasn't afraid to be in the kitchen, or I wasn't afraid to try intramural sports because of being in gym or music. I've played for a long time. Let me, Renee, ask you both this question, but let me start with Renee. When we think about the evolution of something, it feels weird to ask that because this is still so very new.
Yes.
Do you see perhaps this moving into the metaverse?
I don't know about the metaverse, but I tell you what I do see. I definitely see an amazing dual language, national standards aligned curriculum for middle schoolers and high schoolers. Now, what they do with it, maybe we'll get there. But I see that in the future. I see a cadre of professional young speakers to help get the word out, and a plethora of mentors. So I have a whole vision, but metaverse will get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And same question for you. I mean, this is just one more medium, but what do you think is going to happen? I mean, we're so early stage with what we already have, but what do you think might?
Well, I think
we might go deeper here.
Moving into metaverse wouldn't be really that bad. I think there's already some games and simulators that want to get the eVTOLs in, so just going straight through with it would actually allow people to do the simulation and then from the simulation do like a tryout or something like this that will get people into this Formula One of the sky or into the eVTOL testing or things like this. I mean, it's absolutely possible to move things to metaverse and back again from metaverse to real life. That'll be interesting.
And can anybody qualify to become a flying car racer?
If I did it, everyone can.
Okay. What are the credentials? What do you need to have?
Currently, it's a mix, mostly because most of the eVTOLs are actually tested remotely, so they are requiring you to have a drone license of a certain category.
Okay.
Absolutely, but then along with moving it into sitting inside PPL and CPL probably, but as I'm working with Jetson, their idea is that you don't need anything, especially in the US because of their weight. So you will not need anything, just a little bit of training from a little Lexie, and you're gonna be good to go.
I'm ready.
I'm in.
Good.
I'm serious. I'm ready.
Good.
We'll talk later.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both. Thank you so much to Renee and Lexie. This is exciting. We can give them a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we are live at CES of Women in Drones. This has been wonderful to talk to all these amazing women who are doing fantastic, and men, doing a fantastic thing. So thank you so much for joining us for ZeoCast Live at CES with Women in Drones.